right, give me the weather game plan for you on the sidelines, Michele.
The full foot heaters, don't do the toe warmers because they just gum everything up. So you got to have the full foot warmer inside the shoe. I have the company that's dressing the Vikings and the Seahawks sending me some stuff to wear under everything, like this super duper gear. Snow pants, Canada Goose parka, and battery-powered gloves.
And a hat.
Is that what you wanted?
Yeah. Yes. But you're from Minnesota, though.
No. I grew up in Manhattan Beach, California. I moved here and married my husband here. I live with it. There's nothing that can prepare you for this.
Okay. But if I said to Viking fans, do you want to have a dome stadium or do you want to have the elements? How do you think it would go with the locals?
Well, clearly they want a dome stadium. The taxpayers are help paying for one. I mean, look, it's really split down the middle, Dan. It used to be this old school, oh, no, we're tough and we love being outside and Bud Grant and all that kind of stuff. But I think as a general society, we've all become wusses, right? We're all super soft. I can't wait to be inside. I hope we have 1 million Minnesota games starting next year inside that nice, warm building they're building.
Well, when we were up there for the Super Bowl years ago, you didn't have to go outside. They built like connections to a mall and the hotel, and that's why when everybody
it's like
said
a habit trail.
Yes, and everybody in Minnesota, oh, they love the elements. I'm going, no, they built this whole walkway. It was a maze here for ants,
right?
And I'm going, they don't want to be outside. They have to be outside when they live there.
That's you only look. I mean, even the guys who do the ice fishing now, they have these cabins with heaters and big screen TVs. This is not, we don't love 30 below. It's awful, but you find ways to deal with it. So, what are you going to do?
What impact do you think weather will have on this game Sunday?
Well, I've talked to a bunch of players, and they seem to be saying, it can get to you mentally if you let it. But I think on the kicking game, Dan, you can easily, these guys it's going to be like running up to kick a brick, really. I mean, the ball is going to feel like that, I think, in the kicking game. And I think just mistakes and dropping the ball is going to feel so much different than it normally does. So I think that's kind of the stuff it's going to come down to. And then, of course, there's the normal stuff. But I think when you talk about the weather, the ball won't travel as far when it's this cold, so the kicking game's going to be impacted. And again, I just think, that the ball feels so different. Someone wrote a great analogy today. They said, you can sit here in your practice dome and say, oh, the cold's the cold. That's like being between your second and third visit to a buffet and saying, I'm not hungry. You have to get into it and be in those elements to understand what it really feels like.
Are there how often does this happen where you see something or hear something during a game that you can't report on?
Oh, it happens all the time.
Like what?
It happens all the time. Well, I can't report it.
but what? No, are you hearing strategy?
Strategy is very difficult to hear. There are not really. I mean, you're seeing adjustments being made. You maybe can see an offensive line coach coaching up a guy So it's not strategy. It's more, though, you can't quote things that you hear on the bench. You can't quote guys cussing out other guys. You can characterize a conversation, but you just can't quote stuff. So that's really what it is.
If I gave you the vote, the ultimate vote, the last vote on doing the interview with the coaches on the sidelines, you would vote for what?
What do you mean?
When you're trying to grab somebody?
Yeah.
What do you get? 2 questions? Is that usually what it is? I don't know if sideline reporters like it, the challenge of it. Oh, I love it. Oh, you do?
I do. I love it. And I think part of the decision we've made is to not do it on camera, because I think you get more out of these guys when you take the camera out of it. They're willing to swear. You get a better sense of their mood. And you can converse a little bit in a way that the camera doesn't allow you to. You can actually converse and follow up more. And I get more than 2 questions with these guys. I mean, they're most of them are awfully generous and will spend a couple minutes with you. And so, yeah, I absolutely think it's it's great. I love the challenge.
Well, I've seen you track people down after a game.
I can run a little bit. I have no choice.
Who was the toughest one to track down?
Who likes to? I'll tell you this. This is something I noticed this year, is that, and I don't know if this was intentional or not, but when I try to talk to Chip Kelly at halftime at their place, when he's coming out of the locker room in the area that they like me to talk to him, suddenly the music back in that area cranks up to the point where you can barely hear yourself talk. So you're trying to talk to the coach, and the music is so overwhelming that you can barely hear each other. I don't know if that's a strategy on their part, but I started to notice that this year.
Well, other teams have piped in noise, so this is the first we've heard of that.
It's right back by their locker room, So they say, "Come on, you got to come up here by the door, come on in." And then he comes out. And they're like, "No, come closer, Michelle. Come this way." And then suddenly the music's just like deafening. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, we'll find out if that's the case with the next coach in Philadelphia. Now that Chip is gone. Yes. Have fun and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Dan.
All right. Michele Tafoya, Sunday Night Football. Now Sunday afternoon football. Sideline reporter there. Yeah, here I thought she was from Minnesota. She's from Manhattan Beach.